Welcome, 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 everybody. My name is Amista, and I'm here to do a live stream just reach out and connect with people out there in internet land. We're going to start off with a tarot spread that's going to look at what our best manifestation advice is over the next 24 hours. So, whatever it is that you're thinking about manifesting, if you focus on that while I'm shuffling the cards, or at least while you're viewing me shuffle the cards, then that gets your energy into the deck to help make that answer applicable to you, even if you aren't in the room as I'm shuffling the cards. Spirit is not limited by time or by space. So let's just shuffle for that. And then what else do we need to talk about? Well, I need to let you know I do private readings. If you end up interested in this, you can look at my website in the description box below, and that'll explain how all of those work. I always love to do readings. Always happy to hear from new people and from people I've read for before. So that's all good. Let's see what we have for our best manifestation advice over the next 24 hours. So the very first card is pretty powerful. This talks about the idea of not really necessarily sticking with any plans or making any long-term plans. This is a lot of play it by ear action over the next 24 hours. Just kind of, see what needs to be done, see where we need to be, and don't be so worried about plans. Be very much in the moment. Three of Pentacles talks about working together, collaborating with somebody else to manifest whatever this is that we are manifesting. And then we have our Nine of Swords shown up in reverse. This is relax. Don't make it so hard. Don't overthink it. Don't second guess it. Relax. Do what you need to let it come to you. Get yourself in the receptive mode. All right, so that's what we have so far. All right, so now it's time to start doing some personal readings. It looks like we have one person in the chat. Whoever that is, thank you for the thumbs up. Glad to see it. So, Cheryl Ford, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Looks like you already participated in the survey. Thank you. I'm curious on that one. So let's see. Would you like a message from Spirit, or do you have a question for me today, Miss Cheryl? Let's get rolling. Let's get rolling with some card reading. I thought you had to be you. I've got one answer, and it's 100% of the answers. All right, so let's see here. Best message from Miss Cheryl Ford today. What would you like to talk to her about? Boy, my cards just keep wanting to fall out in clumps today. That's like the third time. That is not normal. Not normal. Boop-a-doo-doo, Cheryl. What do we have? I think this deck is just antsy to work faster. It just wants me to speed things up. It's like, let's work fast today on this stuff. All right, so first card that you have coming up, Miss Cheryl talks to me about the idea that you've been carrying some kind of responsibility for a while. Ten of Wands, carrying a responsibility. We're looking at that side of this card. I'm using my vice versa tarot. So we've got this side, which looks at the front of the person, or we have that side, which looks at the back of the person. And to me, that side implies something that has been going on, something that is from the past, may still be going on today, but it's not a new thing. It has been happening. So carrying some kind of responsibility or accountability. And then with the Seven of Cups, oh my goodness, look at you. This basically says that you've been carrying lots of different responsibilities or been accountable to lots of different people. And so, yeah, because that Seven of Cups is all kinds of options. When it's covering responsibilities that we're carrying, that means we're carrying a lot of different responsibilities. All right, so let's take a look at best advice or heads up around that. All right, first thing that we have showing up here We have our Knight of Cups in reverse, which basically means that, something was going on emotionally with all this stuff, at least in the past. Yes, and then we have that side of the Ten of Cups, and we have the Two of Pentacles, also that side. So this may be something all that's happened in the past or all that got set up in the past. But Spirit's asking you to be cognizant of how it's impacting you, basically, to have this many responsibilities all rolling at the same time. I think what's going on is that in the past, with this Knight of Cups showing up, that this was something that actually nourished you, that each of these responsibilities, as you picked them up, they were nourishing. They made you feel satisfied and happy. And even with the Ten of Cups showing up that side, this talks about this idea. It really emphasizes these were happiness making at one point in the past. All right. And then, and this is still in the past because we're still looking at that side. And then they became enough that they had you like dancing, basically tap dancing. Things became hectic. You kept all the plates in the air. You haven't dropped any of these responsibilities. You've kept them all in the air, but now it's created a really hectic life for you, which can be stressful, even though there's satisfaction in each of these responsibilities individually. This can be causing a little hecticness or can make you feel a little bit pushed rather than making you feel satisfied and happy anymore. So I think what's going on here, Spirit is just asking you to sort of readdress what responsibilities you're carrying and, how are those making you feel? And then, of course, do you need to make any adjustments? And if so, what are they? Spirit's just asking you to take a look at that and evaluate that. I hope that makes sense for you. Alicia, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you, my friend. Hello. Would you like to have a message today, or do you have a specific question for me, Alicia? I'm not sure if Cheryl was even still in the room by the time I finished that message. She might have got popped out with a phone call. Oh, yes. Okay, good. Awesome. Well, thank you, Miss Cheryl. I appreciate that. Spirit message for Alicia. How are you ladies doing this morning? I'm hoping to grow a really friendly community where everybody can be supportive to each other here. Chanel, hello, hello, welcome. Glad you're here. How are you doing today, Chanel? Alicia, I'm putting your cards down, my friend. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Doing great. You kick butt. I love it. Jiu-jitsu is pretty intense. I don't know if I can handle that one. That's funny. I also love how the laughing guy has a purple face because I can see, like, when I exercise, man, my face gets all red, so that would make sense. Chanel, if you stick around, you'll see how things work around here, and you'll have the opportunity to potentially get more than one card. Let's see here, Alicia, what you got? Shows up as the Three of Wands in reverse, or not in reverse, but that side of the Three of Wands. I'm using my vice versa tarot, so we've got this side or that side. This side looks at the front of the person, that side looks at the back. And so for me, when I read these, the back side, I usually see this as something that happened in the past. So Three of Wands, you made some kind of long-term plans or maybe even some travel plans, but definitely some kind of plans that impact long-term, and you made these plans in the past. The Eight of Wands because if this is this side, talks about that there's a lot of communication going back and forth about this travel, or you may be actually traveling very soon. Eight of Wands can be the literal act of traveling, although normally for me, it's more about the communication of traveling or communication in general, but short messages. So there's some kind of plans, long-term plans, or possibly travel plans that you made in the past. And now there's a lot of communication about those plans going back and forth. And for me, when the Eight of Wands shows up, this communication isn't just short bursts of communication. There's enough communication happening that you kind of have to stay on your toes to make sure that you're up to date on what the actual last word is on something. So you're keeping up with any changes or adjustments or tweaks that may be happening. Okay. Any new developments, maybe is the best way to say that. Now, boop-a-doo-doo, best advice or heads up around this situation. Okay, definitely. Okay, so it looks like what's sparking all of this new communication is that there was some information that came up around these plans that people weren't really expecting or weren't aware of or didn't realize. And so whenever that information came up, I think that whoever all is involved in these plans, whether it's you and the realtor or you and your family or whatever, I think that that has you guys really like talking about, okay, what do we need to do to modify here? How do we act appropriately since we have this new information around these plans that we've made? With the Seven of Swords coming up in reverse, this says, we've kind of gone back to this situation and we're rethinking it. We're looking at it all over again, kind of reconsidering things. And we have that side of the Ace of Swords. Hello. And so the Ace of Swords basically says going back to it and rethinking it gave us a new idea about something. And so this new idea about how to handle this long-term plan is what all the communication is going on about. It's kind of like, that's interesting. To me, it kind of like tracks. Where is this? Why are we having new information on these long-term plans? So I don't know if you were wondering that, but there's the path. I hope that's helpful. That's one of those, every once in a while I get a reading and I'm like, is that really helpful or did I just say everything that she already knows? All right, we've got 4 people in the room. I'm going to read for the next person who guesses the number that I'm writing down right now and circling. It's a number between 1 and 8. Whoever puts that number in the chat first will be the next person I read for. What I recommend is you guys tap in intuitively, see if you can get that number. Chanel, 8 is not it. 5 is not it. Anybody else in the room that wants a reading? 3 is not it. 7 is it. Cheryl. Okay, Cheryl, so I already gave you 5 cards, so you're just going to get 1 more card. Thank you for guessing. I appreciate any participation in these chats because that tells YouTube, oh, show these videos to other people. So thank you very much. So let's see here. Cheryl, card of the day. This is going to be something that has happened within the last 24 hours or will happen by this time tomorrow. Miss Cheryl. 9 of Cups showing up in reverse. We have this side, so this is a more current thing. So 9 of Cups showing up in reverse just talks about the idea of that you've recognized there's somewhere, some part of your life where you could feel more satisfaction. You would like to feel more satisfaction. And so you're recognizing, you know what, there's something I need to improve here. Hope that makes sense for you. All right, let's try this again. We've got 2 people in the room now. We're going to do a number between 1 and 4. And I've got it circled right now. Number between 1 and 4. This just helps get comments in the room, guys. You're quite welcome, Miss Cheryl. So is it two? No. Layla, hello. Number between 1 and 4, my friend. Glad you're here. It is not two. Try again. Not one. Try again. Not four. Chanel got it with a 3. Okay. Chanel. Okay, so here's my question for you, Chanel. Do you have a specific question that you would like me to answer? Look at my straps way down there. Jeez. Or would you like a message from Spirit? Would you like me to see what Sacred Spirit would like to talk to you about? And then well, let's go there. If you have a specific question, message from Spirit for you. Okay. So Chanel, I have to tell you, I'm not sure about the spelling of your name. Am I talking to a guy or a girl? What do you identify as? That just helps me put a little bit of context around some things. That way, if a court card comes up, I kind of know a little bit about where I should be putting that. Like the perfume Chanel. Okay, I like that. I like Chanel number 5 too, actually, too. That's an old school perfume, though. Let's see here. Chanel. Happy full moon is right. Whew. I feel like breathing a sigh of relief just because it's over as of last night. I'm just I know we're still in the energy. Don't get me wrong. And I've had my emotions. Whew. I just feel oh, so glad the peak has happened. Not a guy. Okay. Yes, partial lunar eclipse as well. Yep. My dad was actually in the hospital. He got taken to the emergency room a couple of days ago for a blood clot in his lung. And today he's getting released. But man, I was pretty emotional. Pretty emotional. Okay, so Chanel. Message from Spirit for you. Everybody else be on the lookout for a piggyback message. The moon was huge here last night too. Where are you watching from, Chanel? I have a feeling we're not in the same continent if you're looking at the moon right now. South Africa. Okay. Well, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. All right, so here's what we have for you, my friend. We have that side of the Temperance card, which talks about that you have found some balance in something in your life. Now, what we have covering is that side of the Knight of Cups. So this talks about the idea that you found some kind of emotional balance, and I feel like you found this emotional balance for yourself. With the Knight of Cups, this talks about doing things that have positive emotions. Sometimes it can be doing things with other people, but I often see it too as doing things for ourselves to help us modulate our own emotions or regulate our own emotions, however you want to look at that. So you found some emotional balance. This implies to me that you've done some kind of self-work, maybe even deactivated some triggers around something, those types of things, okay? All right. So that makes sense. So those cards were all that side. I'm using my vice versa tarot. So my vice versa has this side where you see the front of the person, or that side where you see the back. So all of those were that side. That side to me implies that this is history or that this has been going on. It's not a new thing. Okay. Now, for all your next cards, we've got this side, which is the front of people. So this is going to be more current tense. And in current time, this is advice or insight, heads up, something like that to help you out. Okay. So it does take a lot of shadow work to get there. That's for sure. especially it seems like certain people. All right, so now here's the advice or heads up. You've got the 10 of Pentacles. This talks about security, and it does talk about that laid back type of personality that's not just jumping every time somebody throws a fish hook in the water near you, somebody who's just calm, calm. They're not comatose, but they're calm. They handle things in a calm, steady, stable way. Okay. Now, Six of Pentacles shows up. This talks about doing things evenly, be even keel, equal, um, reciprocity. I'm not even sure if I'm saying the word right, but things are reciprocal. So this basically says, you know, if something happens, you're not exploding, like match the energy. If somebody says something to you in a certain energy, this is talking about matching that energy, doing something that's reciprocal back and forth. All right. And Four of Swords in reverse talks about this idea of stepping back from the situation and giving yourself an objective look at it. So sometimes this is taking a break from a conversation that can be especially tense or trying, and just giving yourself time to think about, well, where is this person coming from really? And how can I accommodate this person, or how can I not accommodate this person? What is a reasonable response to what this person is saying to me? But this is getting objective about it. It's taking a break. It's not being a part of it. It's like stepping back and becoming objective, maybe even going to a different location, maybe going for a walk, maybe saying, I can't give you an answer right now. Let's talk about this in a couple of days. Okay, so that's some advice here to be able to be secure and to be able to do something in a reciprocal way. Sometimes it may take that stepping back and buying yourself some time to actually bring that objectivity in. I hope that makes sense for you. For 10 years, you've been on this journey, right? Very cool. Well, I'm glad it resonates for you. I hope somebody got a piggyback off of that too. I actually went through that recently where I had something I had to work out with somebody, and I was trying really hard not to be triggered. Let's put it that way. Trying really hard not to be triggered. I forgot to light my candle before I got started. I'm looking for where I put my lighter so I can light it. And it took a few times of saying, I can't answer that right now. I need to think about that. And so this ended up being like a week-long conversation because of the intermissions. You got a piggyback? Yay! Awesome. Awesome. Jen Davies, hello, hello, welcome. Glad you're here. All right, so how many do we have in the room? 6 in the room. If you guys don't mind, put a thumbs up on this video if you will. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 12. And I'm writing it down and circling it right now. Whoever intuits it or guesses it first and puts it in the chat is going to be the next person that I read for in the chat. Jen Davies, you got it with the 11 right off the bat. Also, everybody, if you have not participated in the survey, I would appreciate that. I'm really curious to see about people who come into the room, how many of them are already on my newsletter list. You got it pretty quick too, didn't you, Chanel? Jen got it in the chat first, though, so we're going to go with Jen as the winner this time. So, Chanel, what I'm going by is the chat that's in front of me. So it's showing up in my chat that Jen put it in as soon as I said it. And then you show up after Layla, who said number 10. I have to go by my chat. Let's see here. Jen, do you have a question for me today? Oh, you've already answered. Do you want a message? Well, there's your first card. A lot of people here are delayed. I don't know if they're delayed as much as you in South Africa, but there are a lot of people here that are delayed. That's why it's kind of a, this is my way of letting Sacred Spirit kind of pick who I'm reading for. And even with being delayed, you still got a chance to play and you got a chance to win with the last one. Let's see the rest of the cards for Jen. Oh, wow. I'm seeing something new in a card I haven't seen before. All right, Miss Jen, let's look at your situation. We have that side of the Knight of Swords. This tells me that you had some kind of communication or conversation with somebody, and this is going to be in the fairly recent past, but it's already happened. And this communication was about home or about family. You know, this could be briefing the kids on how to behave whenever they're at home, that type of thing. But I just realized I have some kind of military terms in there. Briefing the kids. Who says that? Only ex-military people. But so some kind of communication that has happened with family or about the home, about family. There's been some kind of communication going on, okay? All right. Now, let's see. Best advice or heads up? So, first of all, we have the mama of all mamas. This is the Empress. So this is somebody who is, you know, definitely in a nurturing role, but also a creative role. What really struck me from this card that's never actually struck me before is that that central star that's so bright in the center of this card towards the top is green. And that really talks to me about the heart chakra. That, you know, for me, when I see the star in a card, it talks to me about guidance because the North Star is what guided the sailors. And so this just basically is saying for your insider heads up that either you are or the advice is to follow your heart, use your heart for your guidance whenever it comes to any kind of conversation about home or about family. That heart is where the guidance system is for you right now. Now, we have this side of the Justice card coming up next. And this is saying that there's somebody in your sphere of influence who's made some kind of decision that isn't really fair. Isn't really fair. Okay? So what you're following your heart with is around this decision that's not really fair that somebody has made. And so with this decision that somebody has made, and this is going to have to do with your family or your home, we're seeing that you're no longer attracted to that person or to that person having the authority that they used to have. You're going to be, I think, taking away that authority if they had authority, or taking away your attention from this person who made this unfair decision, even though in the past you might have thought that they hung the moon. You know, you were really attracted to them and thought they were really great. I think now this is almost like, I feel like this decision or this thing that they're saying in this conversation, whatever this is, I think this is making you really like, oh, you just crossed the line, buddy. That's what I feel like there. So I hope that makes sense for you. All right, let's see. What time is it? Okay, let's see. We've got 4 people in the room. Thank you guys for putting a thumbs up on this video. Also, don't forget about this survey. And let's see, 4 people in the room. I'm picking a number between 1 and 8. And I put a circle around it right there. And whoever puts that number in front of my face first will be the next person that I read for. Number between 1 and 8. Hello there, Arushi. I don't know if I said hello to you. Welcome, welcome. We're glad you're here. 4 is not it. Try again. 7 is not it. Try again. 6 is not it. 2 is it. Layla. Now I want to play Eric Clapton. Layla, do you have a question for me today? Or do you want a message from Spirit? I wish I could play music while I was reading for you guys, but YouTube would cut the video off. I wouldn't be able to leave it posted because of copyright infringement if I did. Otherwise, right now we would be hearing Eric Clapton's version of Layla. Be the psychic tarot reading DJ. Wouldn't that be fun? I think old is relative. But let's see. Sometimes miss a partner. Any love around. All right, so let's see what we have. I just met a woman who is officially, like if you're counting the days, 70 years old. Yesterday, I would have never guessed that from her activity level, from her alertness, from any lines on her face, or maybe I should say lack of. So, I mean, I really think it's old. I mean, it's all relative. She said she didn't feel 70. Let's see though. For Layla, show me Layla's love life over the next 6 months, please. Show me what Layla should expect in her love life over the next 6 months, please. Oh yeah, when people around you are younger, it can make you feel that way. I took a 7-year-old out hiking a week or 2 ago. Oh, he made me feel old. Here I was all proud that I still hike and I get around and everything. And then, of course, I have asthma. And so I do take what I call breathing breaks, especially if I'm going up some altitude. But man, he made me really aware of every break I took. And he could go so fast. He wanted to run everywhere down the trails. And I finally had to tell him, look, my lungs don't work like everybody else's. I just can't do that. I did not feel young on that hike. Exactly. It definitely is. All right. So let's see what you have here. Oh my gosh, this is interesting. This is very similar to, I think this was Cheryl's reading earlier. You didn't get all the same cards, but you got some repeaters. They're not facing the same way, but you definitely got some repeaters. So we're starting off with the 10 of Wands in reverse, that side, which means that you have some responsibilities that you let go of in the past, probably the not too distant past, but in the past. And you have that side of the 7 of Cups coming up in reverse. I think you let go of these responsibilities because you were feeling really overwhelmed. And so you felt like you had to let go of some responsibilities with that Seven of Cups in reverse. All relative, all relative. Okay, so best advice or heads up. What do we have showing up here? Hmm. So we have the Hierophant in reverse, that side again. So this talks to me about the idea of letting go of some kind of contract or commitment. That could be the responsibility that you dropped. But it's also interesting that you have in this card, if you can see it without too much glare, there's a baby with a key behind the Hierophant's seat. And there's also this apple that's sliced open, which talks about the whole cycle of life in the apple, because there's the seed in the apple, there's the flesh in the apple. That's going to make the tree. And the baby holding the key says this idea of ending this contract or commitment actually gives you the key to something new, especially with that apple there, the whole beginning of life being sliced open. Okay. So the idea that you dropped some of these responsibilities came out of a contract or commitment sort of opened up a whole new world for you as far as a new beginning. All right. So that's what we have there. The next card is that side of my King of Wands. Part of the reason that you have a whole new beginning is because you're not supposed to be in control of something. So maybe you put down a responsibility where you had control over certain things. Maybe you were a supervisor in a situation or a business owner or whatever, but you put down something where you were in control. You were the person who was in charge of making things work. Well, now you're not in control of those things anymore, and that it has to do with ending that contract or commitment. And now we've got the Page of Cups in reverse. This says that whoever took over those responsibilities for you, I think you really appreciate them. I think you really like them with this Page of Cups in reverse, and you may have even told them so. So I'm going to say that with this spread, you may have been questioning, was it the right idea for me to drop some of those responsibilities? And Spirit is reminding you were feeling overwhelmed. There was a reason why you dropped them. And they're also reminding you that the person that picked those responsibilities up, you were happy with that person. So don't forget that whenever you're evaluating, should I have done that in the past or not? That there was reasons why, and that you made sure it got covered well before you totally let go of it. I hope that makes sense for you. Okay, Arushi saying I'm 18, but my thinking pattern is old. I'm just cracking up because look at the peer pressure. Like there is implied peer pressure in our room to be old because everybody's identifying as being old. So now poor Arushi at 18 wants to feel like he's old. What are we doing to him? What are we doing, guys? You're quite welcome, Layla. Let's see. We have how many people in the room? 4. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 8. And I've got it circled right now. Whoever puts that in the chat next will be the next person I read for. Number between 1 and 8. Arushi. 3 is not it. Try again. Number between 1 and 8. 5 is not it. Anybody in the room want a reading besides Arushi? You're going to have to guess a number if you do. Boop-a-da-doo-doo, boop-a-da-doo-doo. 8 is not it. Number between 1 and 8. So far we know it's not 3, 5, or 8. Number between 1 and 8. 1 is not it. You're not bad at it. It's just a fun way to get to the person, like, there's not a good or bad, there's no judgment around this. I tease people, though. If I have a bunch of people in the room and it takes a long time to get to the number, I tease them that they're not tapping in. But with one person, I think, well, all the pressure's on. Poor person. So we know it's not 1, 3, 5, or 8. 4. You got it, Arushi. All right, my dear. By the way, guys, don't forget to share this video to other people who might want a little bit of a reading too. Arushi, Arushi, Arushi. Do you have a specific question for me today, honey bunny? Or do you want me to see what Spirit wants to talk to you about? Do you want a message from Spirit? Thank God. About your career? Okay. What do we want to look at about your career? What's the question? Growth in your career over the rest of the year? I'm a little confused about what I'm asking about, because to me, being a student, like, that is the career, is the studies. So are we asking about how well your studies are going to go over the rest of the year? Or are we talking about jobs that you have on the side and how well they're going to go the rest of the year? The studies. Okay. Show me how things are going to go for Arusha's studies over the rest of this year, please. And keep in mind, what I'm reading is the energy as it sits now. So if something comes up that you don't like, you can use your free will and change that. Boop ba da doo doo. Oh my goodness. I see why you're asking me. Okay, well, we start with the tower. The tower tells me that there's been some kind of shakeup having to do with your studies. I don't know if, like, one of your professors got sick and had to be replaced with a different professor or whatever. This is definitely eclipse type energy where something gets eclipsed out so that you can bring in something else that actually ends up being better. But definitely there's some kind of shakeup that's happened. Here's what I'm going to tell you that I know with the Tower card from experience is that whenever we have this kind of shakeup and the Tower card shows it, this tells me that we've gotten really comfortable with something, really comfortable, but there's no room for growth in that situation. And so Spirit does not like stagnancy. They're going to boot us right out of a situation we got that comfortable in so that we can find somewhere else that we can really grow. Okay? So it's interesting to me that you talked about in your question, do you see growth in the rest of the year with your studies, when the Tower card tells me there's definitely going to be growth. You're at that place right now where you feel like your feet are knocked out from underneath of you and you may be catching your breath in this area of your life. But this is the beginning of the story. The end of the story puts you in a position where you're better off than you were before this shakeup happened. Okay? Now, take a look at this card. I don't even know what this is. This must be the Page of Wands. But look at that phoenix, the rising phoenix, the phoenix rising from the ashes. The bush is completely burnt up. If we're looking at studying and we're looking at learning stuff, we're looking at intelligence, this says that whatever you're studying, you're burning right through that information. Like you're catching on with it really, really fast. So I think your ability to pick up information is probably pretty amazing, to tell you the truth. And we see you picking up information and putting it to good use in your life, maybe even in spite of your instructors or in spite of the people who are around you. Okay? Well, I'm going to tell you about the comfort zone. That's a good way. Spirit, like, you don't have a choice. You're out of your comfort zone now. You had that choice earlier where you could take yourself out of your comfort zone before this shakeup happened, and you didn't do it. Maybe you didn't realize you needed to. Spirit took care of that for you already. You're out of your comfort zone. Okay. All right. Now, Nine of Pentacles showing up in reverse tells me that there's something that you're missing here. Okay. So, and we're looking at the rest of the year. So we're already in September. This is going to be about a month and a half, 2 months from now. This basically says at this point where there's something that you're missing, you may want to be involved, heavily involved in a study group where you all are each helping each other to be prepared for any kind of testing or whatever. Okay. Now, that side of the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. This basically says that you're going to be coming to a point, October, November-ish, where you're cutting people out so that you can actually pay attention to your studies. You're going to be focusing on your studies to the point that you're not going to be putting energy and effort towards other people. Maybe towards some people, but not everybody. Anybody who you consider a distraction, nay, bye-bye. You can make this happen faster if you want to. And I'm going to tell you something, Arushi. A lot of times when I'm doing readings for people and the time frames, especially, timing is interesting because if I tell you something is going to happen, especially if it's something that you want to have happen, when you start imagining that and thinking about that, you can shrink up that time frame. I've seen it happen over and over again. So even though I'm saying that this is probably 4 or 5 months out, now that you know that you're coming to that point where you're going to be cutting off distractions and not putting energy into that, if you consider that and think about what that would be like, you can make that happen faster just by using law of attraction. All right. Now, let's look at our 6-month point. Here, what we have is the 5 of Wands in reverse. This is super focus. Super focus. So we're looking at 6 months. We're in the middle of September right now. That would be in the middle of March. This is super focus here. No distractions. Okay, then the next time you see me, here's what you ask. So hopefully you've already subscribed and hit the notification bell. So the next time you see me, you ask, what's my best advice to get away from the distractions? If you haven't already done it by then. But I only answer one question per live stream, per person. I see you getting super focused around the March timeframe. So if you want to do that sooner, it's going to take your own free will changing your perspective earlier. Excellent. Okay, don't forget the notification bell because that'll give you a notice whenever I go live. That way you won't miss these live streams. All right. Okay, guys, thank you very much for being here, for keeping me company. I appreciate it. For participating in the poll. I'm pointing the wrong way. For participating in the poll today. I appreciate that. Those of you who do want my newsletter, actually what's included in it is predictions for each sign for each week, and I'm using like Western astrology as my standard on that. But I do tarot predictions for each sign for each week. I also let you know about any sales, contests, promotions that I have going on. And I do a little editorial piece where I write about whatever was on my mind. I call it Ramblings of a Mystic. And sometimes it has to do with my work. Sometimes it has to do with other stuff. So it's very random. Some people really like that section. Some people don't. That's okay. The predictions are there every week, either way. And also I talk about any classes that I have coming up. Right now, most of my classes are in person. I do have some coming up that I'm planning for this winter that I'm going to be doing some online just because that's easier for people to show up. So that's what's going on there. If you want the newsletter, thank you guys very much for being here. Thank you for the thumbs ups and for sharing this video. And everybody have a fantastic day. Peace out.